So, Anna, thank you so much for joining me today on this podcast. And I'm so excited to be meeting someone else who is running a business. Now, I don't know a lot about what you do, which is really good for our viewers and our listeners. I know a little bit, but only enough to be dangerous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, first of all, by just sharing with me and sharing with our viewers and listeners what you do, what your business is about. That'd be really helpful.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me today. And so I'm a nutritional therapist, and my business is just Anna Peanut Nutrition. So I'm the brand of the business. And I help those with autoimmune and thyroid conditions to truly heal by addressing the root cause of their disease, not masking the symptoms. So you can say that I like to see myself as someone who gives my client the power of living a happy and fulfilling life by dealing with any health issues they may have. And so that's what I do.
Wow. I mean, what an absolutely fantastic business to be operating, where your aim is to help people to be happy and healthy and fulfilled. That is like such an amazing business to be doing. I mean, you know, you hear about people that are maybe selling things online, maybe they've got products, they're doing drop shipping, and, you know, people are going to enjoy receiving products, but to do something that has a significant positive impact in someone's life is yeah, that's pretty cool. So would you mind maybe giving me an example of what you might do to help someone? So what kind of people do you talk to? What kind of people are you helping? And who would you say maybe is an ideal client that you might be helping at the moment?
So I help essentially anyone who comes and speaks to me. So if I can help them with what I do, I help them. If I cannot, I always refer or try to help them find someone who can be the most suitable person for them. But essentially what I do, I look at the person's diet. I look at the person's lifestyle, because diet is just one part of the well-being. So I also look at stress, sleep, exercise, all the kind of holistic components of someone's life. And we discuss everything with my clients, and we start making changes, or they start making changes. We often start with the diet because I am a nutrition therapist, and that's my main focus. And diet is very important, obviously, because we are what we eat, absorb, digest, and absorb. So if you feed your body with wrong type of foods or unhealthy foods, then the body is not going to work 100%. So my job is to look at the diet, see what the person is missing, or maybe what they're having that is not good for them based on their health condition. And then we address that, and at the same time I try to see what else needs to be addressed, because even if someone has the best diet in the world, a lot of vegetables, very healthy, if they lacking in stress management, or they have very sedentary lifestyle, or they don't sleep very well, their health is not going to be massively good, even though the diet is amazing. So it's trying to find that balance. And in a way, I suppose I'm a bit like an educator as well, trying to educate people about best choices they can make in terms of food, and then educating them how, about exercise, how important it is, and stress management and sleep management. And I can give them some basic techniques or advice and information. But if I think they need some extra support, like, for example, if I identify they have traumatic experience in the past they haven't dealt with, this is something that's beyond me, and I know that, and I explain that to them, and I refer them to another practitioner and explain how important it is to address these things. So I see myself as helping people get better quality of life by addressing the whole life holistically. But I don't work even though I work just independently myself, I don't see what I do as, how to explain that? I see it as a part of a bigger health or well-being approach. So I wouldn't just recommend just change the diet and that's it. I would say look at everything else that's happening in your life. Try to find maybe people who can help you with that as well, and just have this kind of holistic approach. Sorry, that's maybe a bit, kind of convoluted way of explaining, but essentially what I do, I don't see what I do, I don't see it as the only thing that can help my clients, and there is nothing else, and diet is cure for everything. It's not. So I am aware of that, and that's how I approach my clients.
That's really helpful. Thank you. So just for me to just clarify kind of my understanding. So your expertise is around the health, it's around their fitness, and it's around their stress management, and about all of how those aspects work together. Would you say that's, have I got that?
So essentially what I'm trying to find out is the root cause of the problem. So if someone comes to me, I look at their diet and see, okay, what can we improve there? And we work on that, but I'm also aware the diet is not the only thing that can contribute to poor health. So I'm trying to find the root cause of the problem, and I need to find out if the person is stressed. I need to find out if the person is sleeping well. I need to find out what infections maybe they had in the past. All of these things, because diet may not be enough for them to improve their health. And my job is to find out what else they can work on and improve and support to get the best life and the best quality of life possible, so they can get on with their life and do what they want to do.
That's great. So you're like a Sherlock Holmes for health and fitness.
Yeah, that's, so it's a bit like a detective. But yeah,
like
that's what I use sometimes. I see myself, because
Hercule Poirot helping you get fit and healthy.
But I love doing it. It's because I was chatting to my husband yesterday, and actually I don't, even though I work for myself, when I think about my work, I don't think of it as work, because I enjoy what I do. And when I work, I enjoy it, because when I work, I learn, because there's always something new with clients. There's new conditions I haven't heard maybe, or haven't dealt with before. So I do a lot of research every time, and I learn about this microbe or that disease or this supplement. I love it, because it's never the same, and it's just interesting, and I love research. I love spending my time just reading, making notes, and doing my research on different things, and making these connections, like thinking, okay, they had this symptom and that symptom, and their diet is like that, and their lifestyle is like that. How can we connect the dots and help them? So yeah, it doesn't feel like work.
Do you know what? It's really great to hear you say that, because, again, for viewers and listeners, to hear you say that you're working for yourself, but actually it doesn't feel like work. That is just, do you know what? That is just such an amazing space and an amazing spot to be in your life, is to, I would say that for me, what I'm learning my own, myself running my business and speaking to more and more people like you, for me, it's not necessarily about how much money you can achieve and overly setting goals. It's about, if you can find something that you're interested in, you're passionate about, you care about, you're knowledgeable about, and you can get paid to do that and be your own boss and be happy. I mean, that is like the ultimate position to be in. So I've just got to say, I'm so amazed and so great to speak to someone who has found that sweet spot. So let me just ask you another question about your clients then. Would you say you've got a typical type of problem that people tend to come to you with, thinking that that's what you can help them with, even if it ends up becoming, a different reason to why they thought they needed your help? Is there a particular type of person that you're finding that wants your help?
I think you're probably alluding to an avatar or ideal client, which I have stick on my, it's on my wall there. And I do have an ideal client avatar, but I have to say, for me, it's more about the audience, I suppose, because even though I specialize in thyroid and autoimmune conditions, a lot of clients that I see don't have these issues. They just looking for solutions. They're looking for, because quite often the people I see, they've been to the doctors and they said nothing was wrong with you, or we cannot help you, and they don't know what to do. So they're looking for different solution, and they come across my website, come across me. They like what they see, they like the copy there, I suppose. They contact me, and then I chat to them about how I approach things. So even though I specialize in certain areas, because I myself have autoimmune condition of the thyroid. So that's why that's kind of my special interest. But all the people that come to me, even with autoimmune conditions and thyroid conditions, they have other issues like digestive issues, skin issues, hormonal issues, all of that. So you kind of, it's very kind of difficult to narrow it down, even though I have a niche. Yes, it's important, like in any business, to have a niche, and my niche is thyroid and autoimmune conditions, and that's what I focus on. But at the moment, most of my clients would be autoimmune, but I had non-autoimmune clients, and in the past, when I didn't have a niche, I had everything. So I had clients with different conditions, autoimmune conditions, weight gain. Some people wanted to lose weight, put on weight, skin issues, digestive issues, eating disorders, so autism as well. So I've dealt with different conditions in the past. So it's tricky for me to answer, but I have a niche, and I try to focus on my niche because it's what interests me. And also, essentially, by having a niche, it makes it easier to do my work. So, because if I open myself to every other so to anyone with any condition out there, I will be constantly researching and learning, and I love doing that. But at the same time, I have a business to run, so spending hours for every client on research is not necessarily. It's great. I would love to do it, but at the same time, it's a little bit easier if you specialize in certain conditions, because at least you have the basics, or you have a bigger understanding of what's going on, and then you do a little bit more research based on that person and other conditions or problems they may have, and you learn this way. But you don't have to do everything from scratch.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I imagine that, yes, it's like if you've got a particular type of client that you're meeting that like you say, has got the autoimmune issues or a specific challenges, the more knowledge you've got around that area, the more helpful you can be to them. So quick question then, Anna. So as you started, you explained that you initially were getting people with different problems. You were exploring all the different ways you could help people. There was a little bit of time consuming in that aspect, and you've kind of refined that and become a little bit more specific. What would you say your actual business model is? So what I mean by that is, how do you generate your money? Is it because you actually do one-to-one coaching sessions? Do you do those over a series of sessions with people? Do you do online courses? How does your business actually work when we actually look at the inside, look under the bonnet, and look at how your business operates? How would you describe the way you actually generate your income, I suppose?
So just let me start with, so I graduated 5 years ago, and back then I worked full-time in the corporate world. And I decided not to quit my job and try to do it as you call it, side hustle, isn't it? So that's what I tried to do. So I worked full time and tried to do like evenings and weekends. And then after a year or so, I decided, well, I need to go part-time. So I went part-time and tried to grow my business this way. And I was doing one-to-one consultation. So one-off consultation, a report, send to the client, and then possibly a follow-up. And I did that for 4 years till last year. So over the period of 4 years, I managed to leave my office job and full-time job. So I went part-time and then I left. And then last year, I managed to leave my other jobs completely. And I did a business coaching, 2 months of business coaching, and I changed from having one-off consultations to programs. So at the moment, I run programs with clients, or packages, programs, whatever you call them. Essentially, changing someone's health isn't a quick fix, especially if someone hasn't been well for a long time. So I work with clients starting with 3 months programs, and that includes at least 6 consultations, because you need that commitment. You need constant contact with me every 2-3 weeks to change the habits and kind of make incremental changes to the diet and lifestyle. So that's the kind of what I moved to, from one-off consultation to programs. I don't do online courses or group courses because essentially, even though I've been practicing for 5 years, I've been doing my full-time nutritional practice since summer last year.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I just want to again congratulate you on, well, there's a number of words that come to mind because I've had a similar journey to you in the early days where it was a side hustle. So yeah, thank you for using that word with our podcast series being called Side Hustles and Startups. So there's a few words that come to mind. It's commitment, it's focus, it's patience, it's determination. It's almost as if you connected with almost your reason why you're on this planet. And you earlier on when you said how happy you are, it doesn't feel like work. And for me, I think what's so fantastic about this session is to meet someone who has truly found their calling, their dedication, and has been prepared to work through that time of using your skills and expertise and to go from the side hustle and to move that into now what you do as your career. So I just want to, I don't want this to sound too cheesy, but I just want to say a huge well done, because there are so many startups and businesses that fail because to go from starting with an idea and a passion and to turn that into a business model that can operate almost separate to you as an individual, because your business doesn't care about your feelings. Your business needs to survive and thrive on the revenue it generates over the costs that is required to deliver it. And then, of course, we all know that then we've got the profits that we can use to live off and use to reinvest and to grow. And it sounds really simple, but so many people fail at it. And so I just wanted to say just huge well done. And yeah, just massive congratulations, because to get to where you are and to get to where we are takes those words that I've just shared.
But I think it's not all, it's not all roses and great. I have to say it's in terms of profit, I'm still not probably there. I'm still figuring out the right marketing strategy. I'm still figuring out a lot of things, and working for myself is great, and it is like a passion, but sometimes it is difficult to distinguish business and passion. And sometimes I give, for example, I see that I give too much time. I don't think about my business as a business, because it just feels like not work. It's tricky, and I have low days, where things, when maybe things aren't looking that great, but. And again, that is going to sound cheesy, and I've never done something like that before, but actually on my wall here, I have reasons to keep going. And one of them is doing what I'm passionate about, and I don't work in the office anymore. And all the things why I don't work in the office, I don't want to have office politics, I don't have a boss, I want to be flexible, I want to have my working hours, I don't want to do PDPs, the personal development sessions you have to do in the office. I do them for my own nutrition because that's the requirement, but they don't feel like something I have to do because I enjoy it. I usually do more hours than I have to do. But I have these reasons which just there, like no pointless meetings, all these things I just hated about being in the office. I had them written there to keep me motivated, because I need to keep going. I don't want to spend whole or the rest of my life in the office working, doing something that doesn't have a meaning. Like I worked as a web analyst in the insurance company. I just couldn't. I was unhappy. I was unhappy, and I didn't see myself spending my whole life working in the office. And now I just feel different, so much different. But it is not easy. I have to say, it is not easy to grow a business, and we chatted about it before, and it may sound a bit funny, but I'm not a very ambitious person. So my goal is not to have the biggest practice in the UK or publish a book or be on TV. I don't see that. I don't see this kind of fame, being famous or something like that. I want to have the work-life balance that it's important for me. And maybe
it's also, Anna, it's also realistic. You know, you're grounded in very much understanding who you are, what, as you alluded to, what makes you happy. I really appreciate you explaining there and saying that that doesn't mean that there aren't problems and there aren't challenges. But as you just alluded to, there was challenges and problems when you were working in the office, except now, yes, there's still challenges and problems, but now you're in control of your destiny. And the key thing that you've identified is the work-life balance and about being happy. So I would say that compared to such a lot of people around the world, you've taken that risk, and that can be a challenge. You've stepped forward with the drive and the determination to make it work. You've been patient. You've obviously been intelligent and looked at your strategic way that you're working. You recognized you needed some coaching to help you focus on a specific aspect of the business to make it profitable. I just want to make one more point, and then I'll come back with a question. I think it's great that as I said, when you had that analysis done by the business coach, it was trying to work out how the business model could work. And you know, the one comment I want to make here is I alluded to it earlier. If you recognize that there's Anna and then there's the business, and I do the same, there's Richard and there's the business. Now, what I do to make sure that I am doing what the business needs, I almost imagine myself putting a hat on where I am actually working for Rocketeer. Because what I'm able to do then is remove the emotional side of what I'm doing as a business owner. And I know that my job and my role delivering and growing my business, there's certain things I need to do regardless of my emotions. And I found that that's helped me with the same difficulty that you alluded to, where maybe sometimes you want to give so much because you care so much about people. So I found that's helped me, is making sure I know when it's Richard at work and I have to do what the job demands. It's almost as if I've got a boss, but it's like an imaginary board of directors, as it were, who are, you know, I have to answer to, and I'm, you know, I have to report to. So that's number one. That's really helped me. And then, as I say, I like what you've done in regards to assessing your business model and working out how that needs to work from an efficiency perspective to give you what's needed. Let me just ask you a question about your, you just alluded to it in regards to your goals then. So I understand that you've identified that you don't want the huge publicity, the huge ambition to grow the business too much, which is fantastic. So have you got a vision of what you do want it to do? So have you got a target number of clients? Have you got a target revenue number? That'd be interesting for people to know. And then I suppose from there, it would be, what would you say are the biggest challenges you face at the moment? So have you got any targets, goals? Is it revenue? Is it number of clients? So what is your plan to move it forward? Because of course, if you're not moving forward, you could say you're standing still, and therefore your competitors could be moving forward. So there needs to be some progression. What targets have you got? And then as we start to move towards bringing this to a conclusion, what would you say are the biggest challenges that you've got at the moment?
Yeah, so as I said, let's start with, I started going, so I went full-time last summer, and I've done a lot of things since then. I think I've progressed a lot, and I have actually a list of things that I wanted to mention that I've done. Maybe I haven't yet, but one of the things that I started to do was networking. So I signed up with couple of networking groups, and I also identified I needed some help with SEO and AdWords, and I found grants. So I applied for grants and some free marketing support. So I got that, and I will be working on, and because of that, I needed to do marketing plan, which I never did in the past because it was a side hustle and all of that, but now it's full-time. So I have my marketing plan, so I had to figure out my goals, you know, for 3 years, the clients, and what I want to earn. So essentially, it's kind of, the business model I have is having less clients but good quality clients. So it's not about the numbers, about the quality, because I want to give my time to my clients. I don't want to rush through. I want to address everything properly, and because of that, I I need time, and also I would like to be paid for my time, what I think it's worth. So in terms of clients, depending, because my packages the prices can change depending what's involved, how long they are, but essentially they start from like £700 up. And but I would need around 4 to 6 clients a month. And essentially I'm working to about 50,000 a year. So that's my kind of ballpark where I would like to be.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's brilliant. Okay. Thanks for that then. And so now challenges. What would you say at the moment is the biggest challenge you face? Because I'd like to see if I've got any experience or thoughts on if there's anything I can help with. And if there isn't, maybe I'll go and do a bit of research like you did, and I'll do a bit of Sherlock Holmes and see if I can come back with something for you. But what would you say is the biggest challenge at the moment? Or it could be a challenge that you're seeing, but also maybe is there some challenge or problem that you're not sure how to get around? Because you might have a challenge and know how to address it, but there might be a problem that you're really not sure how to get round. So how would you answer that?
So I think at the moment for me would be the leads. Yeah, so the kind of, because or leads or inquiries, however you want to call them. So I think that's, since I changed from one-off consultations which were cheaper to packages, programs which are a bit more expensive, the leads or inquiries are a little bit more difficult to get, because I think, there's various reasons behind that, because we're used to free NHS and people are not used to paying for the service, or but they may not exactly realize, or maybe I'm not conveying exactly what value or problem I'm going to solve for them. I think I've been working on that, but maybe that's still not there. But I've been trying to address that by, starting SEO work with the grant I get. So I know I need more SEO or, friendly pages and content on my website. I'm doing AdWords I started last week. So to kind of generate them more leads, because once I get inquiries and leads, the conversion rate I have, or when I speak to clients and who sign up, is quite good. But it's just, I don't seem to be able to get more inquiries, even though I've been working on, as I mentioned, networking. I've seen talked to about 100, if not more people since like last summer, one-to-ones and in groups, in meetings. I started doing podcasts or appearing on other people as guests. I'm doing videos, I'm focusing on social media as well, more trying to be regular, but it's something that I suppose that's a challenge. I don't enjoy social media. So that's something that I see as a challenge. So I just try to focus and be consistent and only post twice a week. It's just maximum I can do.
Okay, can I jump in there then? Because there's already a few things that I know from my own experience running my business, the R&D that I do, and also a lot of the clients I've worked with. So couple of things there. So I recognized early on with my business, you may or may not know from some of our previous conversations, but we've been what you'd call a B2B business, a business to business provider for a few years now. We deliver programs with MOJ into prisons. We've done coaching with the Professional Footballers Association. So we've worked with a variety of colleges as well. So we've worked with a variety of businesses. And what I recognized and understood probably about 18 months, 2 years ago, is that we needed to be a B2C business, a direct-to-consumer business. And so I started to build a platform, started to create content, because I knew that what we had, the information and the knowledge, would be very useful for people starting and growing businesses. So the reason why I mentioned that is there's two things. Number one, you are a direct-to-consumer B2C business. And so therefore, you really, really, really need to be active on platforms. Now, you talk about health and fitness. If you were advising someone to get fit, you wouldn't say to do that to them to do 1 to 2 press-ups a week is going to help them get fit. And it's a really good analogy to use for you to get your business out there. Now, there's something that I'm going to tell you that's really helpful. If you don't enjoy being in front of the camera and you don't want to be the face of what you do, you don't have to be. Don't try and think about all the things that a business owner needs and try and do them all. You know what you're good at, and that's that. one-to-one group sessions where you're selling the packages. That's where you need to focus. However, your company still needs to be recognized and found, as you've alluded to, while you're doing your SEO work. So it's brilliant you're doing that training. However, you need to be, and don't get too worried about this yet, you need to be doing about 9 to 10 pieces of content a day to be able to generate what you need. Now, there are ways that you can do that. I'm very much like you. There's a lot I'm doing, and I've now started with the shift over to B2C. I'm starting to do a lot more content that we're producing on a daily basis. I used to do 1 to 2 pieces a week. And as we've shifted and I've done my research and with my knowledge, I know that's just not enough. It's just not going to cut it. And the reason why it's not going to cut it is the way the algorithms and the way the platforms work. If you're only posting one or twice, 1 or 2 pieces a week, the algorithm's not going to pick you up, and it's not going to reach enough people for you to get those leads coming in. Now, what you can do is you can promote your brand. You can find ways of raising your profile. You could even get other people to be in front of the camera for you. So there are things that you can do, and maybe we could pick up on that together another time. I can send you an email with a few ideas. But it's worth bearing that in mind. Now, the biggest platform at the moment that can provide the biggest opportunities, because the algorithm is still so new and you can go viral really quickly, but it needs you to be doing 2 or 3 pieces a day, but it is possible, and that's on TikTok. Now, TikTok is not just about people dancing and putting funny videos up. I've heard about one guy who runs a concrete business. He was posting on TikTok and he got a 7-figure contract for his concrete business posting on TikTok. With TikTok, you could post something tomorrow and you could get 50 people see it. You could post something the next day and you could get 50,000 people to see it. So don't underestimate the opportunity that TikTok is still providing today. A lot of the other platforms, there's still opportunity, but the chance to go viral and the chance to reach the number of people you want to reach is so much harder. So I'm glad that you've got a rough idea of who your client is, because that allows you to kind of start to work out, this is my specialism, this is where I do really well with my clients. Let me see if I can work out the best platform to find them on. And I know you would have done that research. So that's really helpful, whether it's LinkedIn posts, because maybe it's professionals who can afford your services, maybe more than if you're going onto Instagram and Facebook. So it's really good for you to work out the best 1 or 2 platforms, or 2 or 3. But I would absolutely 100%, and I've been following lots of digital marketing experts and gurus. So TikTok's something you need to do. The other thing is, and I'm doing this myself, is don't worry about the reactions you get for the first 500 pieces of content you put on TikTok, or the first 250, or the first 600, 700. Just do it as an analytical approach, like a scientific experiment of go on TikTok, download the app, watch people until you find someone creating content in a way that you'd be happy to do. Because it might be that you're able to do a voiceover, and you could do some, you could get someone on Fiverr, people per hour, to do some really cost-effective drawings. You could have animations, because you can get some real good stuff done, real good quality, and it's not that expensive. You could then do the voiceover, so you don't need to be on. Then you could try 2 or 3 of those a day, 15, 20, 25-second clips. If you did about 8, 9, 10 minutes worth of content, and then you cut that up into segments and tested those segments. So that's the first big thing I'd mention from my research, and what we're about to launch is TikTok is definitely something you should try. Don't worry until you've done loads and loads, get the feedback, see what's working, see how many followers you're getting. That's a great tip, number 1. The second thing I'd recommend is, you mentioned earlier that when you were providing lower priced items, it was easier to sell. And that makes sense. The moment you increase and you're providing higher cost items, it's much, much harder to convert people. So what I would recommend is a ladder. Now, what you do with the ladder is you provide, I heard this quote once, and I love this quote: a business is not about your products and services. And when I heard that and read it the first time, I had to reread it because I'm like, what? Of course, a business is about products and services. A business is not about products and services. A business is about the results that you can get your clients. So if you can start to provide, and I'm sure you're doing this anyway, because I've seen some of your podcasts, if you start to provide information, ebooks, video clips, and you provide something for free, and you just give value, 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 and don't worry at the moment about that link up to the 700, 800, 1500 to 2.5, 5 grand products. You want to provide a ladder, a staged steps of how you can take people on that journey. Because when you first meet someone, it's hard to tell which ones can afford a 5 grand program and which ones can only afford a 25 quid program or a 25 quid book. Now, I remember reading about this guy who ran a suit business, and he said, I just sell £500 suits. How can I provide something that's either free or then low cost in this ladder that takes people up to what I offer at £500? And this guy said to him, well, why don't you give away free cufflinks? So what he did is he started to create information on the website, provided things, and he said, if you reply to this, you can get my free ebook and you can get a free pair of cufflinks. Because what he worked out was, if he had 500 people request the 500 pairs of cufflinks, because of the way he staggered his email autoresponders and he set up his emails, collecting email addresses, putting them into mailing lists and following through these stages, out of 500 going out on cufflinks, he might get 200 people that are interested in buying a shirt or buying a pair of socks or whatever it might be next. And then from those, he would get a higher percentage that would go on to buy the suits. So what he worked out was, previously where he was doing all of his costs and his payment systems on upfront advertising to sell direct to a suit, when he put in these staggered items that started off as free, then low cost, then medium cost, and then high cost, he found that the conversions were much, much better. Now, what you find out when you run these is that what happens is that it's going to cost you to come up with something. But what then happens is that cost of creating something that you might sell for £5, £10, £20, that's a cost to you. Then there's the cost of the freebie. But actually what happens is you're going to convert more of your £700 plus clients because there's this ladder of progression that they can go through. I'm doing that now. I've tried it. I know people who've done it and it's very, very successful. And I just wanted to share that with you because I think that could be something really helpful, and you can automate it. You've got so much content anyway. You could even give people the whole plan of everything you do, because if you give it away, some people are going to read it, but actually there's still going to be a high percentage of people who are going to want you to take them through the program. But if you give them so much value, they're going to think, look at this ebook. I've just watched a free video series by Anna, and she sent me 6 videos and they were 10 minutes long. And she took me through how to go from the challenges I've got today to a healthy fitness program and lifestyle program and de-stress program of tomorrow. And it was a YouTube series. There were 6 of them and it was free and it was absolutely fantastic. So you could go maybe from a video ad, something on TikTok, collect their email address. You could then give them access to this YouTube mini video series. You've then got their emails that are starting to build. And then from those people, you might then have a £25 item. And then you might do a £250 item. And then what you'll find is if you end up having 300, 400, 500 people that bought the £250 item, there might be 20, 30, 40% of those people who are going to want to take your bigger item cost. So I just wanted to share that because that's something that's working for me. I've known it work for other people, and I'm now putting that program in place. And then one final thing to leave you with, and then I'd love your response to all this, is I have also put in place underneath my ladder, I've put in place a monthly subscription program. And that then means that if anyone drops off my freebie, my book that will be coming out soon, an ebook for £4, a printed book for maybe £12, then I've got mini courses for £15. I've got a full course for £120. And I'm like you, I go up to a £1,500, £2,500 incubator program. But underneath all of that, I've got my subscription package. And for at the moment on our beta subscription package for $8.99 a month, people can access all of my content. And those people will drop through who say, do you know what? I've enjoyed the freebie. I don't want that £50 product, but I do quite fancy being on your platform for $8.99 a month. Now, creating that platform is not easy. Creating that ladder I've described is not easy. However, if we go back to your commitment, your dedication, and how long you've spent getting to where you are today, it's not going to take you long to think through a little process like that you could start to put in place a ladder and think about what a monthly subscription service could look like, and see how that works. So yeah, I know I've just mentioned a lot, but what's your thoughts or questions?
Yeah, so what you mentioned is what I see other practitioners are doing. So as you imagine, I follow a lot of good people or very kind of well-known people in my field, and quite often in America. So I can see how they operate, because that's, I notice webinars and coaching programs and freebies and newsletters and this and that. So I can see where you're coming from. In terms of TikTok, that's something to look into for me, because it's also about the age. I don't know what's the kind of age audience of TikTok, because my clients tend to be around 40 up.
Let me come back to you on that, because I know the answer to that. It used to be late teens, early 20s. Guess what? Now it's mid 30s upwards is the most consumers on TikTok.
So that's something to look into.
It's actually the perfect audience for you. It's the perfect opportunity with that platform. And the sooner you get onto it and think of, even if you only have a couple of ladder points, you don't have to go mad on it. Something free that people can get. That mini course idea might work. Yeah. And then maybe something for 50, 60 quid that could be automated. And then from there, you're upselling them for those that might be interested in your program.
Because what you're alluding to is a lead magnet, which I have on my website, which is free ebook. And then I have a monthly newsletter as well. So there are a lot of things that a business person should consider, isn't it? So we have email marketing, social media, you have networking, or maybe SEO and AdWords and all of that. And the reason why I kind of go back to SEO and AdWords and leads and inquiries, because when I speak to my clients, I always ask them, how do you find me? And I can tell you that majority of my clients find me on Google. I am just highly ranked. It's a free, I don't do, apart from, I don't pay for that. Then people, I get some referrals from past clients, and then some referrals from networking. So I've never got a client from social media. And I know it is different because I listen to some of your podcasts and other clients, like the cake business. It's so easy to post a few times a day with pictures, and that it doesn't take a lot of time. And it's I think what I'm trying to say is and by being, doing networking, I know that different platforms and different things work for different businesses and different people. Because if someone dislikes social media very much, they will not do it very well. So I can tell you so I'm not a fan, and I commit to it and I do it, and then there are weeks when I just can't, because I am kind of trying to force myself to do it.
Yes, yeah, and that's back to, you're doing it because the business needs it. At the end of the day, the game changer today is mobile. Everyone carries a mobile phone with them, and that's where you're gonna find the majority of your clients. I just wanted to share that with you, because I don't think there's a lot of tweaking to do. But people are on the platforms. It's where everyone consumes. The amount of consumption is huge. I find it a challenge, but I know my business. I know I have to do it to grow my business. The other thing is, you've been so patient getting to where you are now. The other thing is, people will do a few posts and they want instant reactions. And the thing with this is, it's about back to health and fitness. I know the exercises I need to do, and I know the diet I need to do to get in great shape. Doing it's a different thing, and it's the same with social, and I'm having to be really disciplined. It's not the results you're going to get tomorrow, it's the results you're going to start to get in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months from that consistent posting. So
I agree, and there is one thing I think I wanted to mention as well. What I've noticed in the past, what is helpful or was helpful for me is business coaching or mentor or having someone who can, because there are so many things to be possible, to do. And if you're one person band, when you're in a position where you cannot afford to outsource it or hire someone, you have to manage it yourself somehow for a period of time. It can become overwhelming or distracting, what I found. So you kind of do this and you remember you have to do that and this and this, and sometimes it's too much. But by working with someone, they're able to filter that out and focus you, ground you, and say, this is what you have to focus on. Maybe, and I've noticed that I worked more productively when I have someone like that can help me. So
yeah, I appreciate you sharing that again. And it's about what works for people, because some people can't work with coaches, some people can. I think it's great that you've recognized that helps you, because it helps you stay disciplined.
yeah,
because
because just one thing, I consider myself an organized person and focused and determined, and yet it's not that easy, because you are distracted as well. When you work for yourself, there's washing to be done, there is this to be done, and this, and you say you need to treat it as your working hours, and 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever hours you have, but it is just learning that, and it's not always easy.
No, it's not. And like we said earlier, no one said it's easy. And that's why you've got your list on the board, and that's why you've got your targets. But at the end of the day, you also said at the beginning, you're happy. I'm happy. I love what I do. I get up in the morning and I look forward to it. In fact, on Fridays and Saturdays, I'm already looking forward to the following week. I'm loving doing the podcast. But you're right, there are challenges, and it's about how do you move through and work through it. Anna, I want to say it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for taking the time to come onto the podcast. I tell you what I'd really like to ask as well is, maybe in the future, you might come back and let us know, maybe in 6 months, 9 months time, you could share with us how you maybe, if you did try TikTok, how you develop with social, if you have looked at ways of increasing conversions and what's worked for you. I'd really appreciate that, because I think our listeners and viewers would be interested to see again how, you run your own business. It's you're trying to spin all those plates, and it's challenging. So it'd be great to maybe come back in another 6-9 months and have a chat and see how things are going for you.
Yeah, that would be great, because I'm not going to give up. I want to have a proper go and make sure I can do what I love, and I'll be happy to be back. And thank you for having me here today and listening to my experiences and thoughts, and it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And actually, again, for our listeners and for our viewers, would you just tell them what your website is so they can go and have a look?
So it's simply www.annapinnock.co.uk, and all the details are on there.
So that's www.anna, so that's ANNA, Pinnock, PINNOCK, and then it was .co.uk. Great. Well, when all this goes live, we'll make sure that we share it across social, and let's help people understand what you do in your business, and see if we can help drive some traffic and awareness to what you're doing. And I look forward to seeing the first TikTok post.
Thank you. Speak soon.
Yes, thank you. Bye.